This broadcast is inappropriate for all ages right here on Gaming Division. It's time for the play spot. I am Kamurai, and I am conversation ready. I screwed that up, but I got a special guest with me today. Thank Frank. Frank?
How you doing, everybody?
I was like, don't make him look like don't make me look like I pretend to have friends. But,
I just wasn't sure when I was supposed to come in.
yeah, it was like after I introduced you. You and I thank Frank, the internet radio personnel extraordinaire.
Ever since I was born.
Mommy always told me I had a face for radio. Oh man. So what are we here to do today, Frank?
School. Oh, we're here to talk about games.
Games and things and stuff we've been playing this week. Or weeks. I'm a couple weeks behind, and that's okay. Technology issues. Life gets in the way, right, Frank?
Absolutely.
What did Ian Malcolm always tell us from Jurassic Park?
I have no idea.
Life finds a way. I always like to amend that a little bit. Like, life finds a way to fuck you up.
It's more accurate. More generally applicable.
So Frank and I are co-workers. We play games together, regularly now?
Yeah, pretty regularly.
Sunday, so you get up and you worship the board game gods, sacrifice a baby, you know.
Yeah, the usual.
That's why he's always in the shower by the time I get over there. He's trying to wash off the baby blood.
Just gotta keep scrubbing. Doesn't come out easy.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm picturing you in the shower at all, but like I'm picturing you with like a scrub, like old-fashioned scrub brush with like a dory handle. Just keep scrubbing. Just keep scrubbing. Okay, so something about games. Anything about games. We can work our way backwards a little bit. What have we been playing, Frank? Together. Let's do that and then we'll split off.
Well, so, as far as the tabletop goes, we gave Eldritch Horror a try last weekend.
There's our... Wait, hold on. We'll get to Eldritch Horror because I want you to talk about Eldritch Horror. Tabletop. So what does that word mean to you when you say tabletop?
Sitting in person with any kind of game on the table.
Okay.
Not electronic.
So, and I don't think you and I have ever actually talked about this. I'm from the generation of tabletop wargamers, where tabletop meant that you used the tabletop as the board. Like, so it was a weird thing when Geek and Sundry made it or popularized the term for board games.
Okay. We learn something new every day.
Yeah, it's just that's the perspective. It was like they're not tabletop games, they're board games. Yeah, but you haven't played them on a tabletop. You eat it on a tabletop too. It's not tabletop food.
So the most I've heard the term is derogatorily referring to TG, which I think is a subreddit. So
everything's a subreddit, Frank. Don't you know anything about Reddit?
Fair point.
We're just living in a simulation that is a representation of Reddit at this point. How do we prove it one way or the other, you know?
Don't get me started on philosophy.
Oh yeah, Frank is a philosophy major. He likes long walks on the beach and is a very caring person, ladies.
That was one of the majors, definitely the least of which. But that's not the point.
Do you actually have multiple majors?
I did. I had 3.
Okay, so impressive. So Frank's a smart guy. That's my point.
Yeah, one is philosophy, so that counts against me. So it averages out to 1.
So it's a negative major.
Yes.
Excuse me.
It certainly has been at every Christmas dinner I've ever come home for.
So it's your very own Eldritch Horror, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So Frank, since you're the fan of the game, do you want to talk about it so that it comes off better?
I mean, sure. I'm the fan of the game who's played it 1.5 times, and that's always the worst part I think about epic length games is, you have to. There's so much time and setup that goes into it. With a shorter game, it's like, oh, you have one bad play, you can see how you can do it better the next time, and you get going, give it another go. But with a game that's long and you quit 2 or 3 hours in between, you look into the eyes of everyone you're playing with, and there's no way in hell I'm ever going to get any of these people to do this again.
I've offered that I'll give it another shot. I'm just not excited about it. That's my position on it officially, because it's like, I look at it and I'm like, we could have just played Pandemic and we would have won or lost twice by now.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, because Pandemic will do that to you. And Eldritch Horror, I describe it as a kind of beat the machine like Pandemic, like, so it's a Pandemic with a Lovecraftian twist. Frank,
yeah,
is that how you feel, or do you feel there's another way to describe it?
I would describe it that way. In terms of how it plays out and a little bit of the theming, I've heard it described as it's a little bit of like an Indiana Jones kind of globe-trotting adventure in how it plays out with like the eldritch spookiness.
Okay.
You know, everything. And I mean, the reason it came up when we played it originally was because of Betrayal at House on Haunted Hill, which I think they have similar gameplay flows in that it can seem like, okay, this is just several rounds of the game trying as hard as it can to fuck me.
Yeah, Frank, back me up here if you feel the same way. I feel like after Eldritch Horror, though, we kind of owe Bosch to play Betrayal finally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah. That was my plan. I was not lying when I said I think Betrayal would be better when we had a larger group, and I thought that Eldritch Horror would go a little quicker with 4.
See,
I was wrong.
I still think it's the other way around. I think Eldritch Horror will go better with more people involved. But you gotta we gotta find a way to get invested in it. And Betrayal is better with like 4 to 5 at most.
I can see that. I mean, I'm always willing to give it a try.
And we had what, 4?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, from the people that have played it more than I have, and some of the reviews I've watched, I think that people talk about the sweet spot being in like the 3 to 5 range for Eldritch Horror.
Okay.
The second time I tried it was with 8.
Ooh.
And we quit like an hour or 2 in. But it was just a lot of people.
Okay.
And with everyone being new, it just took so long to get back to any one person's turn that it just got so hard to actually get through the game, because everybody would just be like, all right, well, that's my turn. I got 15 minutes to kill. Hey, guy next to me, what do you want to talk about?
Okay. So yeah, and I've had those games before where, like, and granted, it was actually Small World, I think, where we had 6, 8 people, something like that. We were using both the above ground and the below ground boards with the tunnel system, so that we had enough space for everybody. But people started playing games in between their turns. Like, 2 of the guys went and played Star Realms against each other, waiting on their turns. And then when the first guy's turn came, they both stopped, played their turns, and then when the other 6 people were going, they'd play Star Realms. I think one of the guys started a game with a different person. I'm sorry, I stepped on you.
No, that's fine. It's just reminds me of some crap I used to get in college when some of my roommates would come home and I'd be playing, a video game, on console or PC, and then during a loading screen I'd be on my phone playing a mobile game, like, or I'd have like my Nintendo DS on. They'd be like, "Can you literally not go 5 seconds without playing a game?" And it's like, no, just got to be efficient.
So you gotta be like, I shall be entertained.
Exactly.
But and that's funny because, like, eventually and a lot of games are actually like this now. It's like kids are going to start being confused by the term loading screen. Like, how do you feel about that?
I never thought about that.
So again?
I never thought about that. I remember, like, when it was revolutionary on like some of the first open world games, that they would market that as like, oh, there's no loading screen between the areas. I think it was one of the Tony Hawk games that did that. And I remember thinking how cool that was. And now I'm like, loading screens? Oh, that's right, we had those. We still have those. But,
back when we had 8-track tapes.
I suppose when I was playing Bloodborne, I was very familiar with loading screens, but
yeah,
that was like the major flaw of that game, was the loading screens.
Who is it? Bethesda that makes like Elder Scrolls and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
they still have problems in their games where like every time you open a door, it tries to like it touches every save you have. So like you can still break Skyrim by having too many save files.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That
It's
actually
like,
explains a lot.
yeah, see, it's so it's funny in a day and age where like a lot of games like don't have loading screens. The few games that do like actually have like vulnerabilities in them.
Yeah, I'd never thought about that. That explains why my Skyrim on PS3 eventually became unplayable. Granted, that console has 256 megabytes of RAM, and I dove into the Hearthfire DLC and just filled my house with every piece of garbage I could find across the land. I actually crashed the game multiple times trying to load my house.
Yeah. And those games aren't meant for that. They're not meant to be trash collecting games. They're supposed to draw you out into the world and explore, right?
No. Skyrim and Fallout, those are hoarding simulators.
Really? Okay.
I mean, for me, I think for a reasonable person, that's not how that works.
No, and
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't get into those games. They don't catch me the same way they do other people. So, like, I have this kind of weird outside perspective. And I see those games like, oh, well, the joy of that's got to be, like, traveling across the land, finding weird new dragons and bears to love. And, I just don't know. Like, but you're like, no, I like to sit at home and hoard my brooms.
You're not wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what the intention is. But I know there are people like me that it just becomes this. Basically, you quit when it becomes a chore to deal with everything. Like, you're just like, oh, I gotta collect one of every unique item that I find in the world. And then you're like, oh, damn it, my house doesn't have enough drawers for me to sort things in, right? Or they're not in unique enough piles of drawers where, like, okay, I'll put ammo for this in here. Like, and eventually you start looking up mods just for houses, and you find a guy who's put, like, an entire computer system together in-game in one room of this massive industrial complex.
He made Bill's
sorts
PC?
all of your ammo.
Okay, your ammo, okay. But, like, when you say that, I immediately think of Pokemon, Bill's PC. It's like you just store it in the Matrix like the Pokemon.
Yeah, except it would be like if when you threw your Pokemon in there, it had like this algorithm for determining which case you probably wanted in based on its own like assumptions of your OCD.
It's projecting its OCD onto us.
Yeah. So there was a box for each kind of ammo, and so you wouldn't have to go into I guess depth going. All right, is that for assault rifles? Is that for SMG? Like it sort of both protected you and embraced.
Wait, this was in Skyrim?
This was a Fallout. Actually.
Oh, Fallout. Okay.
They're basically the same game.
What was that? Fallout 3 or Fallout 4?
I believe it was that mod in particular that I'm thinking was actually I think New Vegas, which is basically Fallout 3.
It's like 3.5, right? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I started playing 3 finally. And I was like, okay, I get this. Or maybe it was 4. I get this. I see how it is. It's like I see kind of what the appeal is. And it engaged me in a way that like the fantasy version never did. Like Skyrim, for instance.
Yeah, I think that the biggest problem with Skyrim will always be that the core combat doesn't really combat. It's a lot of just sort of mindlessly swinging your stick back and forth. Whereas Fallout can actually do gun combat, especially as the newer Fallouts, especially 4, you can actually play it like a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like in Fallout 3, you just had to use VATS to shoot.
Yeah, and if I remember right, like I started playing like a first-person shooter, and I was just like, this sucks. It feels horrible. I'm out of ammo. My baseball bats are all broken. What's going on? And then I found the VAT option, and I was just like, every time.
Yep, that's pretty much what happens. You just, oh, hey, VAT. Oh, this thing is amazing. Why would I ever aim manually?
So
and then you find yourself several hundred hours in, and most of the game is you sorting your inventory and letting the game play itself otherwise.
Okay. Did you ever go back and play like the original Fallout? Did you ever try that madness?
I think a friend in high school like threw a copy of Fallout 2 at me, like, fucking try this. I know you played too much Fallout 3 because we know you don't do anything else after school. So I gave it a shot, but I never grew up with like the top-down, isometric like Diablo, I
Okay.
guess is how I think of it, style camera. And I just cannot do it. It's my biggest barrier to entry with a lot of MOBAs and RTSs.
I think it's
I'm just
the
so used to
isometric
like the
view.
early 3D.
I'm sorry. That's what it is. The isometric view.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, no, you're fine. It's your show.
You were saying you hate MOBAs.
Well, it's why I couldn't really get into MOBAs. I mean, there's a lot of it's the point and clicking.
Okay.
But it's also like the isometric view that I feel so disconnected from, what I'm playing and who I'm playing as. It's probably because I like, grew up playing, games like Crash Bandicoot during kind of the heyday of 3D platforming
Okay.
games, like early 3D platforming games. I'm just so used to the idea that my camera should be right behind my character, and
No.
unless it's a game where I'm controlling a million characters, right? Like then it makes sense. Like if I'm playing XCOM or Fire Emblem,
Oh, you poor
like seeing
baby.
everybody at once and then seeing a strategic view makes sense. But if like I'm one guy, make me that one guy, you know? I don't know.
But they did. I no. Okay. I understand your point of view. I feel bad for you because it's like there's just I'm in my head. I've got the Venn diagram of like the games that affects, and that means that you're not playing all these great games that are out there. But at the same
I
time, there's a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never gonna run out of non-isometric games. And like I said, when it's your Civilizations or your Endless Legends, those
Hmm.
kinds of games, like that's fine. Like it makes sense to me that I'm like this supposed to see my whole empire. It just and like there's some like co-op games that I'm like, okay, I understand why this is top down because not everyone has a 104-inch TV because their dick is small. I don't know. Like some people have real person TVs, and splitting that into 4 smaller TVs and having everybody try to coordinate isn't reasonable.
Yeah, I
So
think I think the split screen came down to trying to find something to cut from these games to make the production cheaper. So not working on that apparently helped a lot. Plus, it stopped the graphics designers from having to worry about scaling it more, and it also helped the game not run simultaneously. So like it took out a lot of testing, I think, if nothing else, that they didn't have to do.
yeah, you may recall back when we were at the FDM Academy that some of the guys and I would play the Call of Duty Zombies,
Mm-hmm.
and we played it on my PS4, and we had that exact issue where it was a little stuttery with 2 people split screen because it was basically rendering everything twice. When we tried to play with 3 or 4, like it's chugging along at like 5 or 6 frames per second, just completely impossible to play, like nausea-inducing. That was actually one of the major reasons I upgraded to PS4 Pro was because I knew it had enough power to not give me motion sickness.
Okay. Okay. So like when you're playing like Brawl or Smash or I don't know what the current one is, because I think Zach likes 4, and then the other one they played was I don't know, the one on the Switch. So like when you're playing that, you don't have that same feeling with the isometricness of like not knowing which one you are or anything like that.
I mean, if the characters are distinct enough, it's fine. And again, like with like co-op and multiplayer games,
Okay.
I understand the need to see everybody relative to each other.
Hmm.
But like with single player games, or if you're playing a multiplayer game, you're not doing like couch co-op or something. You're playing like a multiplayer game online.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to be able to see as much of my character as possible. Uh, I think I tend to use that as a reference.
Yeah.
I'm mostly a lot of the games I play are like your Dark Souls or your Neos or games like that, where being able to see exactly like what animations I'm in and how long something takes and what the hitbox is like at a really fine detail level is really important.
Okay, cool. So I mean, it's doing the same thing, but I was imagining that it was an immersion problem that like you were trying to be your character in the game, essentially, and you're actually claiming it's more like a mechanical type thing for you.
Well, I think you're right. It's a bit of both.
Okay, that's fair.
I think I'm less conscious of the immersion. Like, I think I'm more likely to be like, oh, look, I just got fucked up when I'm playing in a third-person game.
But
You
isn't
know,
that,
like, oh, they just killed me.
isn't that how you know you're immersed? Is that you don't notice you're immersed?
Yes, that's true.
Sorry, I don't know. I feel like I was making fun of you right there, and I don't think that was actually the case, but that's what it felt like.
I felt like I should have made a joke out of that. I just didn't have anything.
I think that was the joke. It just wasn't funny, and then I laughed anyways because it's like, oh, shitty joke.
If you can't laugh at yourself, what can't you? Or what can you laugh at, right?
Everyone else. So one of the things I figured out that I did want to talk to you about, like right before we got on, was like how do you decide new games that you're trying to get? Like, I know we both kind of discussed that like monthly we kind of want to pick up a new board game, right? Didn't we both say that?
Yeah, that's
So
a tendency I'll probably follow anyway, even without doing it on purpose.
Well, I've got like a backlog of like expansions and things like that I want to pick up for games that I already have, because I have a problem and I want all of my game. It's literally how I see it. It's like I have an addiction. I'm not gonna do anything about it, but
You know, I'm the same way. I've got every expansion for Eldritch Horror on my Amazon wishlist, and I've played it twice. So
Cthulhu help you, jeez.
Yeah.
But like I know we've also both Action Hank. What the fuck is that? Sorry, I opened up my Humble Bundle to look at it. I know we both do Humble Bundle from time to time, and we both notice when the free games pop up. Do you?
Yeah, the Humble Monthly.
Yeah. So you do Humble Bundle monthly?
No, I tend to just do the bundles.
Okay.
Usually it's not worth it for me to do the Humble Monthly because I have most of the games that they put out already
Interesting.
in some form.
Okay.
Because I'm bad with money.
Frank. Oh, okay. But I mean, that's fair. It's like if you already spent too much on it in the first place, why do it again? Meanwhile, like I did it in like the first 2 months, I made my money back for the year.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I look at it and I go, oh, this would be a great deal if I didn't insist on buying things when they came out because I'm an idiot.
You weirdo. So I mean, so that's like so we've got obviously we work for board games. You kind of work off our backlist of things we've already experienced and noticed, just from like organically. I'm assuming. Or is that how it is for you? That's how it is.
It's just what looks cool. I there's some reviewers online that I'll follow and go, oh yeah, they said that was good. I trust their opinion. Or I mean, honestly, components do it for me. Like the more components there are for something, this is probably why I went for Eldritch Horror in the first place, because there are just so many pieces.
Oh, is that what you
like
like
I'm
about
getting so much value?
Super Dungeon Explorer 2?
Oh yeah, I saw that and I was like, immediately understood at least what would appeal to me. I was like, oh, there are so many things to have. This is why I can't get into trading card games, because I would die.
Yeah, please don't ever start playing Magic the Gathering. Like, I just see Adam, like, plotting against you, like, we'll ruin him. Just you wait. But yeah, that was the first thing on my list when I opened up my Humble Bundle, was Spec Up the Line, which was, like, the latest free one from there.
And that's a damn good game. I have it on PS4 or PS3 already.
See, and like if I could have PC versions of all the console games that I actually still own, I would. But some of them I'm just hanging on to because I can't play them on anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still have my PS3 because like that's where I can play Unfinished Swan and Journey. I still have some PS2 games, Wii.
PS3 is a pretty good Blu-ray DVD player too.
Why would I play Blu-rays?
I don't know. That was one of the original selling points of the console. It was expensive as dick for a console, but it was
Yeah.
also like the cheapest Blu-ray player on the market.
And that's absolutely true. It was a huge thing for the industry. But still, even at the time, I was confused why people wanted Blu-rays. Because I've never bought a Blu-ray. I don't ever plan on owning a Blu-ray. Or disc is what I'm talking about here. Because, like, we live in the age of the internet now. I can download something. So I just don't see the need for
Legitimately or otherwise.
Yeah, and there is, of course, the other way to do it. You can't see me right now, can you? Shit. I'm covering my eye, Frank.
Okay.
So,
I see a little bit of a delay, but yeah.
Okay. So there's that way to go about things, but just legitimately, it's like if I want something now, it's like I can pretty much get it one way or the other through one of the mini streaming services, where I can buy it from Amazon, and have it in my video library. And
This is actually kind of the same thing we were just talking about with me liking games with a lot of the components.
Mm-hmm.
I really place, for whatever reason, a high value on having physical copies of things. So, like, I like having discs for games. Like, I tell myself
no.
there's like a longevity, like, you know, my uncle can dig his Atari out of the attic and plug any games into it and it'll work. Right? You know, me when I got my grandkids, if some poor unfortunate woman
Wait,
mothers
how are you
my
debasing
children.
yourself now? I have to at least understand it.
There are plenty of prerequisites to having grandchildren that I'm let's not worry about. But like if I dig my PlayStation out of the attic, you know, at some point 60 years from now, God forbid I'm still alive,
Frank.
you know, PSN might not be a thing anymore, right? Like, how am I going to download the updates, the DLC, you know, all this stuff that is necessary for the game to function?
Well,
Or
and
like,
that's
and maybe not in my lifetime it'll go away, but like,
yeah, and that's why, and this is one of the things that like Valve has. There's actually provisions that Valve set up saying that like if they were to go out of business, which probably won't happen ever, honestly, they have to make it available somehow for you, even if it's for a limited time for you to like store it somewhere. So if they
yeah.
do declare they're going out of business, the next year is probably going to be like, hey, download your fucking game so we can close our servers.
I suppose. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, but that's one of the reasons why Good Old Games is such a thing, is because they like to push the DRM free versions of things so that you can own your games.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that, but I do think like the internet's here to stay, and I think things like Steam aren't going away. So I'm okay with it. The marketplace that like worries me is like company ones like or I'm sorry, publisher ones like Ubisoft. EA
There are plenty of
Origin
reasons
a
for that
little
to
bit
worry you.
left. Say again?
There's plenty of reasons for that one to worry you.
Yeah, because like you play like now, but granted, I don't have a lot of investment there. It's Child of Light, which I think is actually through Steam. Now that I think about it, and Ode, which was like a $5 game or something like that. It was fun, but
I think I bought The Division and For Honor on
oh, you did. Okay.
on Uplay, but and those were both regretful experiences. I got both of them because I had friends in college that were like, "Oh yeah, we'll play that," and then in the case of The Division, I got just bored of it. And in the case of For Honor, everyone else decided not to buy it after I did. So I was like, "Oh, this multiplayer game is a lot of fun, alone in my room by myself."
There's other things you can do alone in your room by yourself, Frank.
Much cheaper ones too.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna lean into that because you really subverted my joke there. The so like I was trying to lead you into like a direction of like where do you look for deals and how do you get free games, but it sounds like you're okay kind of paying the upfront price points.
Less so than I used to be. Like, I was definitely part of the pre-order problem for years.
You bastard.
I mean, there's some psychology to it. That
You see how sad
yeah.
this kitty is? She's so upset.
I mean, it's like as long as you have something to look forward to, like you're generally happier. That's why they tell you to take a bunch of small vacations during the year instead of one big one, because like
Nah.
you're actually more happy at the thought of like looking forward to the next vacation than the vacation itself actually makes you. So I'm getting way sidetracked here. But like when you pre-order something, you just have this whole experience of like looking forward to it the whole time, and knowing that you're gonna get it when it comes out. Like I've already paid for it. There's no additional cost. I don't have to budget for anything. Like I just get this game. Like I bought myself a gift already. You know?
It is like a mini Christmas, like when you finally get something. And you and I both know from like doing Kickstarters that like when you finally get your reward, it's satisfying.
Oh, this is supposed to be the year of so many Kickstarters for me, and like I've still got over half the year left, so I'm maintaining my hope. But we'll see
Yeah,
if
I
any
think
of those ship this century.
Super Dungeon Explorer is the first wave supposed to come this year, and that's my big thing. So hopefully it'll come pretty quick. The rest of it will come pretty quick after that. But yeah, I was just thinking because like I don't think you do like Indie Gala or anything like that. I'm sure because you tend to play more AAA style games.
Yeah, no, I do have a Steam backlog of over 400 games, and most of the AAA stuff I play on console. So I have indie games. I haven't played most of them, but I have them.
You should work on that, Frank.
Them. It's a lot of work.
So like yeah, but like Indie Gala is a place where I've gone in the past because they're like like a cheap version of Humble Bundle. If that's not too mean to say.
Let's just say that's how are they free completely? Do they pay you?
No, they deal with a lower quality of game.
Oh, okay, that kind of cheaper. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm more worried about offending the developers there than I am about Indie Gala itself because if we're just being honest, people work hard on games and stuff, and even like the little independent things that show up there, people worked hard on them, and I appreciate that effort.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable how much work it is.
At the same time too, it's like when people actually put out a shit game, like I do tear into them. So,
yeah. Oh yeah, if something's like obviously incomplete, like I understand, like if you can't get something perfect because you don't have, the entire Ubisoft money machine behind you to, and even they don't polish their shit. It's just there's just enough of it that you'll buy it anyway. But yeah, if something's very obviously incomplete and just doesn't work, that's a little scummy, no matter what level of developer you are.
Okay, and Frank, don't worry, I'm not trapping you for the rest of the night here, but there's a couple more points I want to touch on before I let you go. Okay, so we talked about Indie Gala, Humble Bundle, Twitch Prime's a good way to get free games right now too. Do you get your games through there?
I keep forgetting to. I think somebody a while back told me like, oh yeah, you should have gotten Super Hot through Twitch Prime.
It came back twice.
I think I missed it both times.
Oh, Frank. Because I got it. That's how I got it finally, and it was amazing. It's on the channel, Gaming Division 528 on YouTube. So it's such a great game, and then it showed up again, but I already had it, so I couldn't get like the extra key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully it'll come around a third time, and I'll be paying enough attention because I played the VR version at a friend's place. They were fortunate enough to have a brother with a stepbrother, half brother, someone who's technically family, with enough money to just throw at the Vive, but not a space to use it. So they were just like, screw it, you guys have it.
Oh,
so
wow.
I went over there one day, and they let me put the headset on, and that was a mistake because I played through the whole thing before I let them have it back.
No, I'm in the world now. It's mine.
Most exercise I got that year.
Oh, Frank, shit.
And you have to stand still. For anyone who doesn't know,
it's called resistance training. God. I
did a bad job of standing still. The number of times I walked into those walls. I Built up some pain tolerance.
See, maybe they got their entertainment value out of the game just by watching you like run into walls.
Oh, I'm sure I was a hysterical mess. Oh, you feel all cool, like you're dodging bullets and cutting them in half, but to everybody else, you just look like some tool.
Yeah, that's the big thing on VR. It's hard to advertise. Like, you have to kind of advertise it from within the game instead of like, oh, you could be an idiot with goggles on your face.
Yeah. I always thought about you could do a hybrid of VR and regular TV, I guess, based gaming for like audiences, because streaming and
That's
and all
a
that
thing.
is so popular. So like you'd have somebody playing in first person, but it would be like cinematic for everyone else.
Yeah, that's essentially what it looks like. So there is a group called Rooster Teeth. I'm sure I've talked to you about them at some point. They have a subdivision called Achievement Hunter. They had like a whole running thing of VR games until they played all the ones they could get their hands on. And that's how they did it. They did a third-person view of the person in VR, and then they would do a picture-in-picture of the capture, and the other people in the room were sitting down on the couch watching the capture.
Okay, see, that's pretty neat. I'm looking forward to more stuff like that.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool that like you'd see stuff and like you could actually help out your friend and be like, oh, you're gonna trip on the cord, hold on, and they'd run out and save them or watch them fall. I think it happened a couple times.
Wait till he's halfway onto his face before you say, "Oh, hey, watch out for the cord."
Yeah. There's just so many platforms out there right now, and there's good ways to get games. I mentioned EA Origin already. There's EA Access. Is that a thing you do?
No.
Okay.
Same deal. I have most of the games already. I played them because that's the one where it's like a monthly subscription. You get access to like most of the EA library, like
but it's
Battlefields, Mirror's Edge.
It's so cheap. It's like $30 a year or something. Like it's like $5 a month. It's crazy cheap.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely totally worth it. Like anybody that hasn't played like the Mass Effects and so like some of the Battlefields, Mirror's Edge, totally worth it. Give it a try if you got a month. Where you got a light load at work or you're off school or something. Just absolutely pay for it. Plow through all of them. Totally worth it.
Here's the sad part about that. The game I'm most looking forward to when I finally refocus and do that is to play Unraveled.
I have wanted to give that one a try. It looks so cute.
It really is. If you play the demo, not only is it adorable, but the mechanics are really interesting too, because the string is always attached to you, but you still have to wrap it around stuff to actually get the physics to work. So you actually end up making like trampolines out of yourself and pendulums and stuff.
It seemed like a logical extension of like Little Big Planet, mechanically.
Yeah,
it
feels like that looks. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You feel me, Frank?
Yeah.
Sorry. So let's see. I got a couple more. I mentioned Good Old Games earlier as well. Do you shop on there or grab free games from there at all?
I probably have occasionally over the years. I'll just hear, oh, hey, the best deal for this right now is there. If I'm tight on money, which happened a lot in college, and there's a game I really want, I'll actually shop around for deals. Like, how can I justify this? So I did that for Fallout 4, and the day that came out, I told myself I wasn't gonna get it, but I just found a deal where I could get it for like $40 on day one instead of 60, and I was like, well, I can't not do this. Just won't eat for a week.
Oh, Frank. I wish I could believe that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, looking at me, I've never gone a whole week without eating.
Called living comfortably.
So
yeah,
comfortable.
I'll admit, like, I've got a couple games. I actually bought a couple on there because I couldn't find them elsewhere, and they were on sale. I was like, these games look great. Why wouldn't I buy them for like 50 cents a dollar? And they're like little tactical games. They're called Brave. It's like Braveland Pirates and Braveland Wizards or something like that. So like each game's like themed differently, but it's the same mechanics.
Okay.
And it's
it's like mini franchising.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a franchise. It's like but they didn't put out sequels. They put out like expansions essentially.
Okay. That sounds neat.
Yeah, so like it was really cool to find that and be like, and actually feel good about that. Because up until that point, I think I had just played games I'd gotten there for free. Because they're not great games, but there's a bunch out there on Good Old Games that you can grab for free, and they're like old style 8-bit adventure games and stuff. And I swear there's this game called Kane, like Cayne, and you're like a pregnant woman, and then like they extract the baby from you, and then you're trapped in this thing with this guard who has you strapped to a table, and you have to try to figure out how to escape. And it's point and click adventure, but it's like one horror mess after the next, and it's really compelling. But fuck me, I could not figure out like how to get out of the first room. I had to look it up. And
Yeah,
then
that's always the problem with puzzle games like that.
Yeah, oh man, but the story was pretty good. I was like, I want to know what happens next. Just where do I go?
Sounds like a prequel to Death Stranding almost.
Hell, it might be. I'm not familiar enough.
That's Kojima's new project. If you haven't seen the trailers for it, there are not human words for what that looks like.
There's not. There's only Kojima words.
It looks great. I have no idea what the fuck I watched when I watched that trailer, but like I've never been more compelled by something I had no understanding of.
Frank, you broke a rule. I want you to adapt this in your life too. Anytime that you talk about Kojima, you have to preface it with, you want to take a guess?
Fuck Konami?
Fuck Konami! Yes. Told you Frank's a smart guy.
I like to take the Krogan advice of the greatest insult you can pay an enemy is to ignore them.
Ooh.
That's a very poor paraphrasal for anyone who's played the Mass Effect games that might remember that quote, but
it's also very bad advice if
Konami
someone's
doesn't
stabbing you, just for the record.
I mean, they'll be offended.
Yeah,
right?
but
Like,
they're
if
already like
their...
they're in the process of taking their rage out on you. Pay attention.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's probably prudent, but like, if the whole reason they're doing it is they're just like, I want someone to pay attention to me, and you like, that's just the biggest fuck you. If you're literally being stabbed to death, and you just so much spite flowing through your veins that you won't even pay enough attention to them while they're murdering you.
Yeah, so like the day Frank finally snaps and like stabs me, I'll just look at Adam and be like, "Did you hear something?"
It might be worth it. If I knew I was gonna die anyway, I might want to go out like just being an asshole. The same way I came in.
It's like, well, what else are they gonna do to you? They're not gonna kill you again, right?
Exactly.
They'll just be infinitely angry for the rest of their life. Oh man.
And then who's the real winner then, right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, does anyone really win in these scenarios? Okay, last two. I want to bet you're going to say, like, you're not involved with these at all. Battle.net? Blizzard?
I'm pretty sure I downloaded Battle.net at one point. I succumbed to the hype for Overwatch. But I ended up returning it because I spent basically all the money I had that summer because I was... This is what I was saying about me being bad with money. This is a point in college where I just didn't have any income, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll buy Overwatch. And then I was like, this is kind of fun, but I have made a horrible mistake.
See,
so I had to return it.
Okay, and I've made my mistakes as well. Like, I never got into Overwatch when it was like I played it for this free weekend, and there's some caveats there of like maybe they didn't help the experience. But I got into Paladins almost by accident, and I paid the $20 when I didn't have to because I was having a time with it. So
yeah, I did
like,
the same thing when I tried Paladins early in beta.
Well, yeah, and you played it way too early, it seems, because like the experience that you had was a lot different from mine.
Well, it was fun. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. It was, I think, somewhere in between. I came back and I was like, "What the hell is this now?" And I assume they've probably fixed it to some degree. Like the game hasn't gone down in flames and burned to death.
No,
so
no,
they must be doing something right.
And that's what I'm saying. Is like because I think when I started playing, it was the what the hell that you knew, and then they've updated it since. How do I say? So like that, the new version now is actually the more fun version because they took out the cards and the pay to win nonsense. It's just the reason I started playing it was for Paladins Battlegrounds, and they did something to the project because they've declared it's going to be its own game now instead of a battle or a game mode. Because I think the Battlegrounds was dependent on the card system that went away. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that seemed to be the impression I got from the few streams of it I caught.
Okay, so we'll see what happens when it happens, but until then, you've got Fortnite, or I've got Fortnite available, which is on Epic, which is going to be the other section I was going to talk to you about. I take it you don't play anything from Epic?
I gave Paragon a try. I actually did start playing Fortnite a few weeks back. Some friends that I have that are still in college are big into it, and they got me to try it with them. What?
You didn't want to play Fortnite with me?
I have not played Fortnite since. It's just not for me.
Frank, you could understand the look I feel for you right now. Daggers, my friend, daggers.
You've talked me enough into it that I'll give Paladins a try again at some point. Maybe even talk Adam into it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like Adam's not going to agree to it, and you don't want to, and that's fine. Just don't. I'd rather you not tell me that you're going to. I'll write it off as hopeless.
Adam and I were actually talking about it today, because I keep trying to get him to try Smite again, and he's like, I'd rather try Paladins, and I was like, I'm holding you to that. And then tell Chris you said that.
And
now there are witnesses.
I installed and uninstalled Smite since we talked too, because you were like, if you play Smite, I'll play Paladins. So I installed Paladins or Smite that day. I mean, like, I'll play, because that'll give us a one for one.
No, I'm pretty sure I still have Paladins installed, so I'll give it a go at some point again. I mean, as a fan of one high-res game, I am obligated to hate all high-res games that come afterwards.
No, that's not how that works at all.
I don't know if you're familiar with their practice of every time they come out with a new game, they abandon the old one.
Oh, maybe.
Like Global Agenda fans hate Tribes Ascend. Tribes Ascend fans hate Smite. Smite fans thought they were going to have to hate Paladins, but Smite's doing fine. So, we're okay, but there's still that caution. If Paladin starts to do too well, they might, try to sneak up in the middle of the night and kill all of the Smite fans. So, we gotta be prepared.
Okay, so that covers all the platforms I wanted to cover. Like, there's a couple other ones out there, like Inmass and Arc, but, like, who gives a fuck,
I don't even know enough to give a fuck.
Yeah, Arc was it used to be the people who made Perfect World, and then they rebranded it to Perfect World Incorporated, and they've done a couple different rebrands since. So I think they've lost us in the shuffle. I don't know if that was for legal reasons or based on acquisitions, but like they did Gigantic. That was their big thing last I checked.
Okay, I heard of that at least.
Yeah, it was a team-based shooter where like the goal was to fight the other team, and essentially you were capturing objective points to awaken their giant beast so that you could shoot it. Or shoot a crystal it was protecting. Yeah, it was a weird game. But
I heard things about it, and then suddenly I stopped hearing anything about it at all, so I assumed that kind of went downhill.
Well, unfortunately, it was kind of around the same era as, like, Overwatch and Battleborn, which I actually maintain was a good game. I liked the story.
Yeah, Battleborn is a cautionary tale of both marketing and intentionally or accidentally competing with a major release by somebody else.
Yeah,
people were under the impression that Battleborn was similar to Overwatch, which it wasn't. But people viewed them as substitutes, didn't really know what Battleborn was, and Overwatch just took off. And Battleborn got buried in the confusion.
Yeah, I think Battleborn got targeted as an enemy of Blizzard, and that hurt it. Because it really goes to show that a good game can fail from advertising and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Covered platforms. I had another thing I was ready to go, and I forgot what it was.
Meanwhile,
Oh,
Paladins is actually a copy-paste competitor to Overwatch. But
I
they're doing
admit
fine.
that. I'm not even gonna pretend because a lot of the original cast was literally, oh, this is the version of that. They've grown out of that though.
Yeah, I mean, there's still Makoa, who has Roadhog's hook,
Hmm.
and McReaper, who's just and Droxus, who's just McCree and Reaper if they had a baby.
Yeah, and then there's the Reinhardt copy that I like to play, Fernando. Um, there is Kinessa is kind of a Widowmaker, but not really. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities there for those, and even the ones they've patched out kind of still hold some old place markers. Um,
And in their defense, there's nothing new under the sun, but it's a little bit similar.
yeah, it's
And
really
Hi-Rez does have a track record for copying what the trend is. You know,
yeah,
Tribes was to match shooters, Smite was to match MOBAs,
yeah,
Paladins was, oh hey, Overwatch is doing pretty good, we should make that ourselves.
yeah. It's like, hey, can we do a version of that? Okay, let's try, and they do. They try hard. So you got to give them credit.
Have you heard of Hand of the Gods?
That's the Smite Tactics one, right?
Yeah, that's their Hearthstone.
Frank, I gotta ask, do you have the podcast playing in the background?
Yes I do.
Will you mute that, please?
Yes I can. Are you hearing yourself?
Yep. It's
Huh.
been happening
Oh,
for a
no,
while. I
it is.
just didn't know what was happening, and then I was like, oh, that's it.
Well, here's a plot twist. It is muted.
What?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's my Twitch is muted.
Okay, I'm looking at mine. I'm just gonna close a bunch of windows here, because they don't need to be open. Did it go away? I'm gonna blame me.
Okay, I mean my the cable in my headset's long enough. I could just go sit in the closet, far away.
But no, that's the thing. If it was coming, it would be coming through the speakers. Or well, it'd be coming through. No, okay. But that's the eerie thing is I don't hear it now, and I don't know where it was coming from. If it was coming off mine, which probably means the whole thing's ruined. But that's okay. Just real quick, anything cool you've been playing over the past week or so that you'd like to share in your experience?
I mean, you know that I've been sticking with Neo and the usual mobile game Fire Emblem Heroes, but there's not much to say about those.
Well, Neo looks like you walk around as a samurai and you kill ninjas. That's my experience with watching you play it.
Yeah, there's demons. It's very clearly inspired by the Soulsborne genre. It's got enough to make it unique. I think the combat system's fun. It's got that unfortunate balance of like, you know, occasional genius and occasional like, who is the asshole that decided this was okay? You know, it averages out to being just above okay, but because there's just some times when you're like, who sat down and thought this would be fun? And then other times you're just having a great time because the combat system's actually really interesting. But I liked it enough that I bought all the DLC for it as soon as I finished the game. But considering my spending habits, that's not saying much.
Right on, right on. I've been playing a lot of XCOM 2 lately. For whatever reason, that's kind of a go-to for me. Yep. It completely was me, Frank. I apologize. That means that it is in the video. Apparently, Afrika is an asshole and had it unmuted. So, well, I'll go back and check that out later. I don't know what I can do about it, but
I'm just gonna go ahead and enjoy the Schadenfreude of it not being me.
yeah, no worries.
Not my
Like
fault.
I'm having a good time regardless, so it's fine.
Yeah, same.
The Chipacha, I was gonna say, oh yeah, so XCOM 2. I like killing aliens. I like tactical games. They're my favorites. And I've managed to get all the DLC for XCOM 2, so I really wanted to exercise that.
Oh, I have to look into that because I played XCOM 2 right when it came out,
Ooh,
and I didn't finish it because I think I got burned out. And I actually kind of blame the Humble Bundle for this.
ooh, why?
Same time as the Division came out, I was in college, room full of people, house full of people. We weren't all in one room. We were slightly better off than that. All liked games, and I think it was XCOM: The Enemy Within update, which most of us didn't play on console because it was such a massive DLC they couldn't port it originally. They had to make a whole other disc.
Yeah.
Got super cheap on the Humble Bundle, so we all got it. And like 4 of us are in this house playing XCOM like every day for a couple weeks, and then XCOM 2 comes out, and XCOM 2 is not different enough from XCOM 1 that it's still super fun. But good God, everybody got burnt out on it that went for XCOM 2. Just it's so good, but it's so much more of what I've been doing for weeks.
To me, it's very different. Now, granted, I'm playing with all the DLC on. But like the management system's different. The way you do the base building's different. The battle mechanics are even different. The fact that we have ninjas now. It's awesome.
Is that actually a separate class, or are you referring to like the melee dudes with the swords?
The Rangers, yeah, because you can actually prime them for stealth, and then they have melee weapons. So you can actually like run up like behind enemies concealed, and just stab everyone to death.
I think there's a little bit, at least, and they might have changed this. There was a little bit of weariness built in to the system of just sort of like the constant barrage of missions you have to go on, which that's part of the experience. Is that they never quite want to let you feel like you're prepared to handle the next thing.
Yeah,
that's part of the experience of it.
And that's just XCOM in general.
There's so much.
Yeah,
I think there was more of it in XCOM 2 than in XCOM 1. And again, you might be absolutely right that the DLC might change things up completely.
Well,
that's how it is with Civ. Wait for the DLC to come out with a new Civ game, because otherwise you're just playing the last game.
Yeah, maybe. But the DLC was more of like changing, like making the game a little bit longer, adding the Chosen in for like the alien assassins that come and bother you. The big difference there between XCOM and XCOM 2 is that like to resupply, you had to do that as an action. You had to eat time to get your monthly income.
Yep.
That was the biggest difference.
To do that.
As far as management goes.
You might make me go back and finish that game and give Firaxis money because I want that DLC.
It's pretty good. Like I like it doesn't exactly work that way, but it'd be like I'd let you borrow mine for a minute just to try it out to see if you really want to, but I'm sure you'll just drop the money and get it.
You know me so well.
It's worth it. If I'd say otherwise if I didn't think it was.
Clearly, I'm terrified of the knowledge that somewhere out there is money that is mine that I have not yet spent.
Oh Jesus. Oh, I did miss a platform. The Microsoft Store. One of the games that I got for free, because I test out games from time to time to see if they'll work for me to stream, because sometimes they don't. Shiny the Firefly. This game looks like trash. It's a touch mobile game that they ported to PC. So you click on the screen and he flies there, but sometimes there's like death obstacles, so you have to double click so that he dashes.
Okay.
Other than that, it's a collectathon as a fly, or as a firefly.
Okay. Well, that's much more glamorous than being just a fly.
Yeah. Your butt clothes. People get upset when that happens to me in real life. And then I tried out Kingdom, because Kingdom Classic and Kingdom New Lands. I tried out both of those because they came in a bundle or something that I got recently. Did you ever play Kingdom?
I did not. I'm not familiar with that.
So it's a 2D game. All you do as the royal person is you ride your horse back and forth, and then you can drop money. Your little workers are the guys that do everything.
Oh, does it have that really? It's kind of this really actually pretty, but like 2D, not quite 8-bit, but that like kind of retro art style.
Yeah, yeah. Retro I think is the right term because it's not 8-bit. It's probably like 32-bit, but that's still pretty damn old at this point.
Yeah, I just got like a vague mental screenshot of I think a couple summers ago. I think a friend had gotten it, probably from the same source. Or something similar, maybe a Humble Bundle or something, and I remember watching that and going, oh, this is neat, and then I promptly forgot about it.
It was real popular at the time, but it's short because it's a roguelike game that you can actually beat, so like its replay value is probably not great. But but like every night, like monsters come out of this portal thing, and so you can eventually build your way to the portal, and have your workers break it down. But like at night, everyone goes back behind the barriers and shoots at them from behind the fence, and if the fences give way, they come in and they take all your money and your lives, etc.
It's a rough life.
It's a hard knock life for you. It's a hard knock life. Okay. And I've got too many games to list on my to test and try thing here because I keep getting distracted with other stuff outside of life. So there's a bunch of stuff I do want to play. I'm just looking at this list to see if there's anything like really interesting. I hate saying that there's not. Like Tropico, God Eater, Soma, those are the bigger titles.
I heard of all three of those.
Oh,
they're on my list to give a try at some point.
IGN Prime. I signed up for IGN Prime for some reason. I still can't remember why. But I figured if I got like 2 games out of the deal, it would be fine. And because I think
have you gotten 2 games out of the deal?
Well, I did, but they were like old games. They're not games that I got for monthly. And so I still don't have anything under that, but I don't think it's been a full month. I got to figure out when it was and if like how much I've put into it. But here it goes on the 17th of March, so it hasn't been a full month yet. I signed up for $30 for the year. Because I was just like, if I get one decent game, that makes up for it. And I went through their old list because they still had leftover Steam keys for a couple things, and I got Hyperdrive Massacre and Pang Adventures.
Okay.
I don't want anyone. I don't believe anyone would recognize that. Oh, Polybridge is on here. I'm actually really looking forward to Polybridge and The Darkness 2. Sorry, I didn't realize those were on here.
Oh, I'd heard good things about that.
About which one?
The Darkness 2.
Oh, okay. Wow. I remember the comic book because like I was a Witchblade fan, and I was like, oh, there's a dude one? Let me see what that's about. Lots of gangsters and rape and shit. Don't bother reading those comics anymore.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
So some of that was really pointed towards any audience who happens across this. But yeah, not worth the time in my opinion. Whereas Witchblade was kind of like a heroic story of like a cop who wanted to do good and was accidentally forced into this power that let her do stuff like that. So she's hot and of character. So
those are really the best things you can hope for in life.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, fuck Snake Pass. I just want to say that again because I still have to write that review and get it the fuck off my computer. That game. I have a video up. Frank, you're welcome to watch it too. But like, go watch that and watch how angry I get over the course of the video. It's a slow burn all the way up until I think that last level, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
I've seen like a couple videos of people playing this game, and it always goes that way. I know exactly what to expect. I'm kind of excited to take a look at that.
By all means, Frank. I hope it entertains you, even if it's you just kind of go to like a choice 5 minutes later on in the video.
I will revel in your suffering.
So, I do kind of want you to talk about a future game or two that you're looking forward to playing. We did leave out Five Tribes, but I feel like I'm going to talk about it again because I'm going to keep making us play it.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to Five Tribes again. But Astroneer is a game that I would actually like to recommend to you, Frank, personally. It's kind of like Minecraft. It's a good version of No Man's Sky is what it is.
Okay, that sounds about right. I think it's either on my wish list or I might have actually purchased it and haven't played it.
Oh, but Frank, if you own it, then we can play together.
Well, I'll have to find out if I own it then.
Okay,
a
cool.
backlog of 400 Steam games I got to look through.
Yeah, we'll look into doing a future project or something like that together. Because that would be so much fun. Because like we talk about doing like video game days and stuff. And we don't. And because of the age we live in, we don't actually have to get together in person. always. Let's do it sometimes, but like stuff like Astroneer would be a really good option.
Yeah. Well, and if we actually do get Adam to give Paladins a try.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'd rather play Astroneer with Adam than Paladins. Like,
Okay.
like the itch is starting to burn just looking at this. It's like, I bet they put in a new update. Ooh.
I know that feeling.
Because it's an early access game, but it's a lot of fun. Just exploring. Even though like I've been through a couple cycles now, I'm still looking forward to getting back to it and being like, oh yeah, I forgot I was sucking up this mountain to turn into fuel or whatever. Because I think
Like
I still have to make my spaceship in this version. But that's what the game eventually devolves into. If you go long enough and they haven't proceeded with their updates, is that you just start sucking up the ground to make fuel, so that you can fuel up your spaceship and then have enough to go exploring.
Okay. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I like digging tunnels and shit. Like I actually started trying to dig to the center of the Earth or planet, because it's not Earth. But it is really deep. Just saying.
That reminds me a little bit of Terraria.
Yeah, and I would say like I have servers up for Minecraft, Terraria, Starbound, and then Astroneer doesn't do that. I got this shitty game called Space Engineers that's supposed to be like a more elite version.
Yep, I've seen that.
Yeah,
That
I
bad,
don't know.
huh?
I can't figure out. I can't figure it out because like I'll configure like a server and then it starts you out in space and you're dropping in a pod to the planet, and I can't land the pod, so I just crash and die each time. So it's kind of like, fuck you, making me do this.
Poor introduction.
Yeah, it's no, and like I did a couple other things, but like I got to fly. I figured out how to fly the spaceship in one of the other settings, but I was like, oh well now what do I do? Fly the spaceship into the planet. It's like it's the only thing I know how to do in that game, and so like I don't know. I'm not having a good time with it. But yeah, Frank, do you have any other?
Sounds like that would.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that definitely sounds like that would not be fun, and a reason to not recommend that game. Could be something fun buried in there, but
Okay. Is there anything else like future games and aspirations you have?
board games or video games?
Both. Gives a shit.
I mean, as far as board games, I'm always looking forward to playing Eminent Domain again.
Yeah.
There's the part of me that wants to give Eldritch Horror a try again, way down the line.
Not too way.
But yeah, well, not like the 10-year reunion, but
10 years ago, we gathered to hate this game.
Yeah, it's time to do it again, and I still haven't read the rules in 10 years. Or maybe I did 12 times and forgotten, because 10 years is a long time.
Well, I'm picturing
Blood
like
Rages.
I'm picturing like it was like 100 years ago for today. It's like you pull out the scroll and you unravel it, and then you drop it and it rolls into the kitchen. So like, the rule scroll. Go ahead.
I definitely want to give Star Realms a try with this group.
We do need to
I know
do that.
Adam's kind of excited to try it, and obviously the next expansion is coming out in the next couple months, so I want to get my hands on that.
I've got to divide mine up and break it back into like sets and figure out what I had or like what it is, because I think I need to get rid of 2 of the sets and just break it down to a 4-man game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, because otherwise, like, there are some really powerful cards that just come up.
But it's
way
so
too
much
often.
fun.
You're not wrong, but they are somewhat balanced around you not getting 3 of them.
Yeah, 3 brain worlds or capital ships roll in. It's
Yeah,
always fun.
or the Emperor's Dreadnought. Yeah, um, or the flagship.
Yeah.
But other than that, Blood Rage is a good time. It's pretty fucking metal, actually. How they put the whole Viking theme together.
Blood Rage. Is that a video game or board game?
As a board game. I picked that one up actually at the recommendation of some board game reviewers that I follow. It was one of them's favorite game of all time, and I looked at it and I liked the pieces. I thought the components looked cool.
Is that the
It's a
one
lot of
where you
fun. It's all
build
about
like a river and islands and stuff?
no, it's all about Ragnarok. The world is ending, and the Vikings are like, all right, well, fuck it. The best way to go out as Vikings is to kill as many people as possible and try to make it into Valhalla. Let's go.
Okay, I can get down with that theme. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Like the
Holy shit.
the rules are such that what?
Sorry, I googled it. I'm looking at the setup. That's pretty intense looking.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad to set up. And
Oh,
it's
it's all
not
the models.
actually
That's what it is. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and it's not that long to play. You know, 2 hours I think is reasonable. The first 3 at absolute maximum. I think the first time.
They've got a 5-player expansion, Frank.
Yeah, I have been looking at that. Yes. But like the rule for who goes first is whoever was born the furthest north. If that gives you an idea of the theming.
I hate those type of rules. It's like, let's just do something fair or arbitrate it based on experience with the game.
I mean, I'm from Minnesota, so I think it's very fair.
Because you're a cheating bastard.
Well, it's also hilarious when I first got it and played it back, you know, because I went to college and grew up in the Midwest. So right, you have all these people from Minnesota arbitrating about like which fucking hospital they were born in and like which was the furthest north. And lucky for me, North is in the name of my hospital, so I won. But like,
I'm gonna say our Norse ancestors didn't expect us to be arguing over who was the most north in the Americas. That's not north to the Norse.
I mean, I guess, but
Your near Canadian privilege.
near Canadian. I do have a little Norse in me.
I think you and I do just for a little bit favor of the Isles. The Scots and I'm Scot. You might be a little Irish. I don't know.
I've got both. Little Scottish, little Irish. I've got a lot of German in me, some Norwegian. I've got all kinds of stuff.
Well, the Norwegian might be that stuff, but not the German. German's too far south.
Relative to who?
The Norse. That's what we're talking about.
Well, okay, yeah, but I mean, on average, they're pretty far north.
Frank, dream of your shield maiden tonight. See how she feels about that.
Okay.
That's a shitty joke. Don't laugh at that.
No, I'm just thinking, like, how did you know I have a shield maiden?
Well, it's Norse jokes.
I know.
It's horrible.
I just don't remember showing you my body pillow collection.
I go into your room when you're not looking.
Fair enough.
That's where the cameras came from. Stop dancing like that.
I was wondering. I can't turn it off. Not when I have an audience.
Woo! Okay. Yeah, so unless you've got anything else you want to talk about, I think that kind of brings us to a close. I've definitely taken up more than your time than I expected.
No, that's fine. I hope it was worth it.
No, I had a good time, even though we had a small technical glitch. That was my fault. And then I blamed you because I could not imagine that I ever had that on play. I honestly don't think I've ever had a Freaka play during a cast before, even when it's open. So they may have finally been fixing their website, and now it does that. Who knows?
Well, I'm just glad it's not my fault.
No, yeah.
So that makes me happy.
Yeah, make fun of me. That's fine. So there is definitely stuff out there to play, even stuff for us to play together. And maybe we can do a little bit of gaming together. Gaming together is a show idea that I kind of had where, like, we play games together. But we get to sing at the beginning and make it horribly awkward.
I don't know, that idea is that's a little out there. I would never have guessed it from the title.
Yeah, I know. It's very subtle. Um,
You are a master of subtlety.
yeah. I'll have to show you the logo sometime. It's fucking horrible too. But uh,
That came off, I think, a lot meaner than I meant it to.
no. I'm just getting out of myself. I do the same thing you do. That self-deprecating humor from time to time. Like I made this little thank Frank. What do you call this? An avatar. To represent Frank's golden personality. Oh, you've been looking at the stream, so you know that it's not a big dick. Okay.
I know it completely lacks gold on it, so it's a good representation of my personality.
But yeah, the shitty art style all over my products is all me because no one else wants to do it. But that'll bring us to a
That's how you
close.
set up an identity.
Yeah, that'll bring us to a close. Let's go ahead and end this. Frank, I do want to thank you in particular. If you're watching this, take a moment, go to the comments or whatnot, and thank Frank. So, Frank has no closing remarks.
So, thanks for watching, everybody.
Yay. That's game over. You want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations, and they'll take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.